the city's representative, and we'll get started.
Good afternoon. The Metropolitan Short-Term Rental Board of Appeals is now in session for the regularly scheduled meeting of November the 29th, 2023. I'm Short-Term Rental Chief Bonnell McBrim III, and I will be presenting the cases to the board for review in today's public hearing. At this time, I would ask that everyone either turn off their cell phones or put them on silent so as not to disrupt today's meeting. The procedure will be for staff to introduce the case record. At the conclusion of the presentation, the appellant will present their case to the board along with any person in support. If there is no opposition to the case, the board will then hear from those parties. After the opposition has presented their testimony, the appellant will have a period for rebuttal. The board, in their rules, provide for cases without opposition 5 minutes total for the appellant, including members of the public speaking in support of the appeal, to present their case and supporting comments. For cases that have opposition, the rules provide the appellant, including members of the public speaking in support of the appeal, 10 minutes total for their presentation and rebuttal of the opposition's presentation. For members of the public speaking in opposition, 10 minutes is provided. This is 10 minutes total for all speakers combined, not 10 minutes for each speaker. For members of the public that want to submit comments to be entered into the record prior to the meeting that are either in support or opposition to the appeal, the comments must be submitted to the board staff no later than 5 days prior to the public hearing. Send comments to the strboard@nashville.gov. That's strboard@nashville.gov. Documentation supporters or opponents wish to provide to the board after the deadline can be presented to the board members by providing 8 copies at the public hearing. However, the board may elect to defer cases in order to review any materials received after the deadline. The Metro Code requires that these proceedings be taped. Therefore, it is imperative that anyone addressing the board come forward, speak into the microphone, identify yourself, and then make your presentation. It should be noted that if it is found that anyone has presented false, misleading testimony to the board that would have affected the board's decision, any approval may be revoked at a later date by means of a show cause hearing. The board will go through the cases set for the public hearing today. After both sides of the case presentations are made, the board will discuss and vote on the case. The board is vested with the power to act on cases before us today under the provisions as outlined in section 6.28.035 of the Metropolitan Code. The code requires 4 members of the 7-member board be present to constitute a quorum. The board rules require a majority vote in the affirmative of the members present to grant the appellant's application. In the event that a majority vote is not achieved, the case will remain on the board's agenda for the next regularly scheduled public hearing. Applications that fail to receive a majority affirmative vote at the next regularly scheduled public hearing shall be deemed denied by operation of law. Any aggrieved party may, within 60 days of the entry of an order, appeal a finding of the board under common law writ of certiorari in accordance with TCA 27-9-101 and following to the Chancery Court within that same 60-day period. After that time has elapsed, the board's decision becomes final and no further action can be taken. If you are an appellant and your case is granted, it will be necessary for you to obtain the permit for which you have applied. It should be noted that the permit must be obtained within 2 years for the board approval to remain valid. I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order. All appellants have been notified by certified mail as required by the code. All affected property owners have been notified, and the legal notification sign requirements have been met as required by the code. At this time, we'll recognize any elected or public officials. Seeing none, we'll move on. Co-Chairman Bond, now turn back over to you.
For the record, we'll I'm sorry. Let me do that again. For the record, we'll note that case number STR 2023-62 concerning Alexandria Honeycutt Gambrell and the property at 218 Delrose Drive has been deferred to a future meeting not yet dated. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. In that case, we'll move on to case number STR 2023-67 concerning Delonte Isaac and Isaac Investments LLC and the property located at 42 North Hill Street. Is Mr. Isaac or Representative Isaac Investments LLC present? Thank you, sir. Is there any opposition present or support? Okay. Mr. Isaac, if you'll approach the podium, you'll have 5 minutes to present your case in chief. And to activate the microphone, if you'll press the icon that looks like a little person once, it'll turn it on, once to turn it off. All right.
And just to clarify, anyone speaking in support would also have to speak within that same 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I should come here as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So 5 minutes for the both of you. And if you'll begin by giving us your name and your residential
Initially,
address.
I'll need to present the case for you.
Oh, that's right. See, this is why I don't do this. It's
Okay, cool.
Okay, this is STR case 2023-67, 42 North Hill Street, Isaac Investments LLC. This is for advertising and operating a short-term rental property prior to obtaining a permit. This is an RM20A zone district. This appeal is governed by BL 2020-187. The board has no discretion to lessen the one-year prohibition to apply for a short-term rental permit. In this case, the decision of the board is whether or not the zoning administrator erred in denying the permit based on the evidence that the property was advertised and operated as a short-term rental property prior to obtaining a permit. January 1 of 2023, an Airbnb website advertisement was posted for 42A Hill Street. Metro's compliance contractor, Gronicus Host Compliance Tracking, shows that it began operating in February with 2 documented stays that month. On January 20th of 2023, Mr. Delonte applied for an owner-occupied permit. On January 23rd of 2023, the permit was denied, as the zoning of the district at the time was RM20-A-NS, with the NS standing for no short-term rental. July 20th, 2023, an Airbnb website was posted for 42B Hill Street. Gronicus Host Compliance tracking shows that it began operating in July with 3 documented stays in that month. August the 10th of 2023, the zoning for the district was changed to RM20-A, which allows for short-term rentals. September the 11th of 2023, Metro's compliance contractor, Gronicus Host Compliance, provides us with a list each month of properties that they have identified that are advertising and or operating a short-term rental property without a permit. 42 North Hill Street was on the September 2023 list. Inspector John Feltz investigated the address and found 2 Airbnb website advertisements, one for Unit A, one for Unit B. A notice of violation was sent this day, giving the owner 30 days to comply by ceasing to advertise and operate as a short-term rental property. On September the 28th of 2023, Mr. Delonte applied for an owner-occupied permit again. September the 29th of 2023, the advertisements remained posted. Inspector Phelps made a site visit to the property and found the gate locked. He posted a stop work order on the locked gate so that the gate could not be opened without seeing the order. Inspector Phelps made photos to document this site visit. The application on September 29th, 2023, the application was being processed by Inspector Robert Osborne, who found that host tracking for the property recorded 2 website advertisements had been posted prior to making the application. Each of the Airbnb ads had numerous documented stays. Based on that, Inspector Osborne denied the permit and informed the applicant that as a result of prior operation, he would be required to wait 1 year without operation before he would be eligible to apply for a permit. Inspector Osborne informed me that he was denying the permit, and I printed both the Airbnb website advertisements and the reviews for both, which are included in your package. October the 2nd, 2023, Mr. Delonte filed an appeal. On October the 26th of 2023, I began writing this case summary. Chronicles host compliance tracking showed Unit A had no documented stays in October. However, Unit B had 8 documented stays in October. Tracking also showed that the website advertisement had remained posted until that day, but were removed that day. The A unit is hosted by Delonte, and the B unit is hosted by Thomas. October the 27th of 2023, for Unit A, the advertisement for Unit A remains down. The advertisement for Unit B has been reposted. This property was built in 2022. It was recorded by the Register of Deeds as a horizontal property regime, or HPR, on January the 19th of 2023. So it was originally addressed as 42A North Hill Street and 42B North Hill Street. On July the 30th of 2021, the HPR was terminated and recorded by the Register of Deeds. From that time to the present, it's addressed as 42 North Hill Street. However, it is 2 units as evidenced by Inspector Felt's photos from the 9/29/2023 site visit. There's a photo of the A and B mailboxes. Also, the Metro Assessor of Properties aerial photo shows 2 detached units. This district is zoned RM20A. Only owner-occupied permits are allowed in this district. The property is owned by an LLC, Isaac Investments LLC. The appellant submitted an owner-occupied permit application, so in addition to the prior advertisement and operation, an owner-occupied permit can only be issued to a natural person, not a limited liability entity, including and without limitation a corporation or a limited liability company. It may not be an unincorporated entity, including and without limitation a partnership, joint venture, or trust. Also, much of the legal documents for 42 North Hill indicates that the appellant resides at 404 Oak Haven Drive, Smyrna, Tennessee. On November 20th of 2023, as of this date, both website advertisements are currently posted. Unit A has a 30-night minimum, which makes it a long-term rental, and Unit B has a 2-night minimum. And as of today, that situation remains the same. There were 2 letters submitted, or 2 emails, letters submitted in opposition to the appeal. And additionally, the council member for the district reviewed the matter and said that they could not support the appeal. That's Council Member Terry Vole.
Wait, would you repeat that last sentence, please? Would you please repeat the last sentence?
Yes, the case, the appeal was reviewed by the district council person, Terry Vole, and she submitted an email on yesterday saying that she could not support the appeal.
All right, does that conclude the city's presentation? Okay. Mr. Isaac?
All right.
If you are, well, first, before you begin, just to remind, you'll have 5 minutes between the two of you to present. Both of you, if you're going to both speak, give us your name as well as your residential address.
Okay.
And you go ahead when you're
All
ready.
right. My name is Delonte Isaac, address 42 North Hill Street, Nashville, Tennessee. Is that okay?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to thank you all. This is my first time, so I'm a little nervous, all right? Being here, but thank you all for your time. A lot of the things in I guess the thing that he read is correct. I'm not here to deny the fact that we were, using the unit, the house as an Airbnb, at least up front. You all actually gave me some information on the renter in the back doing it. I didn't even know about that. I have somebody renting the back part of the house. But if it's anything I like to say in the beginning, when I first applied for the permit for the house, and even when I purchased the house, it was my understanding that the house was a RM 28. That was, 90% of my reasoning for purchasing the property. Everything showed that it was a RM 28. It wasn't until I applied for the short-term rental that I found out that the zoning had changed. Per the codes guy, he said it probably changed like 30 days before. So, in the email with him, I asked him, I said, how is that? Because everything that I have, all of you guys' website shows that it's a RM 28 with no NS on it. And he said that, our websites or our stuff has not been updated. And, with that, of course, it's a little frustrating because I had already went through and did all of the things that I needed to get it approved for the short-term rental, besides the fact of the Isaac Investments thing, which Isaac Investments is me. It's a single-member LLC. So, that itself wouldn't have been an issue, but I didn't know that, it couldn't be in my LLC name. It had to be in my personal name. But just stating, had I known that it was a NS designation on, it could have, made me change from even going to trying to do the short-term rental or, buying the property altogether. So, I'm not trying to say that I was right or anything like that. I'm just saying that I feel like, I'm just asking for, some kind of exception in the matter in this because, once I found out that it changed, it's like I went back in and I reapplied 2 more times. The sheet doesn't even say I applied for it, and the codes guy told me that, my paperwork had to be, it couldn't be older than 90 days, which it doesn't say that up there. So, when he told me that, I reapplied again, had all the stuff done over. And I also feel like if he would have said at that point, like, hey, you got this, you got this, you got this, then I wouldn't even bother, spending all the money trying to get it, all done again. So, I just feel like the whole process, I guess, is just a little, it's like you say apply for it. We use all the information off of you guys' website to, get the stuff, the zoning and all that, but that's not correct. And then it's like, okay, you denied. And then it's, once you get denied, you got to do it again, but you don't even know you get denied. He tell me I'm denied for, because my stuff is 90 days old, but then it's like you apply again and it's like, hey, you got all these other things. It's like, just tell me that all of this stuff is the issue and then, I won't even apply again. It's like, so just stuff like that. But, that's all I have to say. I guess that's my 5 minutes. So.
Okay, do I have any time?
Actually,
38 seconds. Okay, so I actually own the house next to 42 North Hill at Delonte, the house in question.
And your name?
So,
Your name?
Kim Oliver.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. From my perspective as a neighbor, I really appreciated the fact that he is doing an Airbnb. I think that because you didn't even know that your renter was Airbnb, obviously you're going to give them 30-day notice and that'll be done. Yeah. So that's a non-issue. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that neighborhood, but it's very, very close to here. And Nashville being such this huge place, that everyone on the planet is coming to, it is so incredibly rough. And you can't understand what it's like unless you actually live there. Does that mean I'm up?
Yeah.
It
yes,
is?
Yes,
you won't
yes.
let me say anything else?
Unfortunately, no.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, your time's up. There's 5 minutes total.
Yeah.
I just had my 2 seconds conclusion.
I
and that's just the way it goes.
understand. I understand.
can you all take the conclusion of where I was going with that, hopefully?
No. Do any of the board, and actually, we'll now have questions from the board members of either the appellant or the city, if there are any. Go ahead.
Hi, I would love to, I think I understood where you were going. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Sure.
Were you saying that essentially because of the way the area is, having an Airbnb actually brings like some life and having people there, it brings more attention to the area?
In a positive way.
Yes, exactly,
So,
sorry.
like, Delonte and I, like, recognizing that there's a lot of illegal activity, like prostitutes and drug dealers, and it's rough. So doing something positive where you're bringing people in, it's a way to regenerate. And the area, like you said, I like the way you said it much better than what I'm trying to say. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
And so, like, and also, like, Delonte and I are working with the South Precinct to help the neighborhood in general. Like, we meet with the police twice a month. We're not trying to, I feel like he's trying to help the neighborhood in positive ways as opposed to,
I understand what you're saying.
you understand what I'm
Thank you.
saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm trying to do it really quickly, so thank
I
you for
understand.
clarifying.
Yeah, and then, Mr. Isaac, so, you're acknowledging that you've continued to operate the entire time that you haven't had a permit, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Up until like the end, like once they told me that it's been off, like my ad has been off, and it like switched. They sent me an email saying that I could switch it to 30 days. I didn't even know that, like, so that's why I switched it to 30 days. But you guys never saw anything change on B because I didn't even know, you know what I mean, up until I got the email yesterday that B was operating. So, and it's like I have a copy of my lease for the guy who's living in the back, Thomas. I didn't even know that was, Airbnb back there. So, in that part, in the back section.
So when did you cease operation? Like, when did you stop operating your Airbnb as a short-term rental?
I stopped and it was probably October, I think, since we had like our last, guest, or yeah, I guess you call it a guest.
Okay, and can you explain why you continued to operate even after being denied for a permit multiple times?
One was because I guess you get penalized, I guess, for canceling a lot of the
You're thinking of your guests who'd already booked.
yeah, who already booked it, because it's like it was, not, I guess to not, it was when it turned on, it's like a lot of people booked it. So must have been one of those things that people, so it's like then when I called to cancel it, they were like, well, I think I canceled like one of them. They were like, after this, you're going to have to pay to cancel any of the other, bookings. So I'm like, man, you know what, I'm going to just turn it off. So I turned it off, and it's like it, just to get through, I guess, the people that were going to be staying there, because it's like I also use it to supplement, my bills. So it's not a situation where it's like I don't need the money, but it's like I kind of understand too. So it's like you're kind of in between the rock and the hard place, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do? Like, so when I found out that, and it was just ironically that I found out that the zoning had changed. So I was like, oh man, it's like, cool, the zoning changed. Let me like reapply for it and then, that's kind of how the whole thing just started all over again. So.
But you knew you never had a permit?
I did know
Okay.
I didn't have a permit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from any of the other board members? All right, if there are no questions, then we will close the public hearing and go into deliberation.
Our standard is whether or not the zoning administrator erred. And I think it's clear that he did know that he needed to have a permit.
Right.
And operated anyway. And unfortunately, because we are with the zoning administrator error standard, my thought is we cannot provide any further relief.
I would concur.
I have questions about the interpretation that we're not allowed to provide further relief. However, even if we were allowed to shorten the one-year timeline in this case, given the number of visits, the continued operation after several denials of a permit, I would not be inclined to offer relief.
Okay, having heard the discussion up to this point, is there a motion?
I'll move that we find that the zoning administrator did not err.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Mr. Isaac, your request for relief has been denied. You'll be required to wait the mandatory one-year waiting period before applying for a new permit. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you.
And Ms. Oliver, thank you for your time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I believe we have one other item of business, the rules that have been waiting on us patiently.
Yes, the changes that were made to the rules were a follow-up to the actual rules change that you made previously and adopted. This was simply a correction of typographical errors. Basically what we have is in number 5D, member was changed to members. In number 7B, 3, the at was added. In 7C, BE was added. And so those changes are what you're approving or disapproving.
I'm going to jump in there. There was one more change regarding the secretary.
Okay.
As I was reviewing it one more time, and sometimes you notice things that you haven't noticed before. I noticed that there are many mentions of a secretary, but no provision for the actual appointment of one. So that is also provided for, and let me just grab that.
Okay. Could we see on the screen, a copy of either the markup or the rules as amended?
And so the change providing for a secretary is 6B. And it just reads that the short-term rental board secretary shall be the short-term rental property chief of the Department of Codes and Building Safety or their designee. So it basically just means that like a staff member, which is what already happens.
Gotcha.
And it just provides that
So it's just
whoever that person
codifying
is of your
the
staff
status quo.
will act as your secretary. Just
Gotcha.
plugging that in.
Perfect. So is the time appropriate for a motion to adopt as amended?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I'll entertain a motion accordingly.
Seconded.
I was entertaining the motion. I didn't make it.
Okay.
I move to adopt the rules of the short-term rental board as amended.
Seconded.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the rules are adopted as amended. Are there any other items of?
I wanted to have some conversation. You didn't open the floor for discussion.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. I just thought after a motion and a second,
Yes, no,
that we would-
you are correct.
but I'll
You are-
vote in favor. That's fine.
Okay. All right, the vote is unanimous and the rules are adopted as amended. Do we have any other items of business? All right, then we'll consider ourselves adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.